Very nice. Good pianist. Where do you find him?
Summer festival.
Really? Good. Worthwhile coming all the way up from Miami. Beautiful. Very beautiful playing, Piotr, because you listen beautifully and you guide and compliment his sound all the time. So you not only don't get in the way, you actually encourage him to be even better than he is, which is the secret of great piano players who play with people. So, Alex, you're great. It's great. I mean, we've known each other for years. You come up 5 hours in the car every week to play in the orchestra. You write me a long letter every week without fail. There's nobody quite like you. And I admire you, and I think you've made enormous progress, and you have a recital on Monday. So the question is, what can I say to you that could be useful and not cause confusion? Because there's nothing wrong with what you're doing, because obviously your teacher, Mark Churchill, is great, and he studied with me 5 years ago. But everything is in good order. There's one thing that I would recommend you think about. You talked about giving the A that you got from your parents and from your teachers and from me and so on and so forth, and that you gave yourself. There's one A that you haven't given yet, and that's to them. Because when you play, they worry on your behalf. And the reason they worry on your behalf, because you're worrying. And they can see your worry. They see the worry in your shoulder, they see the worry in your face, and the whole tension in your body speaks worry. Now, when Lalo wrote this piece, he wasn't thinking about worry. Okay? That was the last thing in his mind. It's just a beautiful piece of music. And beauty is really all it's about. There's not great struggle with the universe or anything. It's just beautiful. So I would suggest that between now and Monday, you have a lot of fun with this music. Enjoy yourself, and most of all, make sure that they enjoy it. And there are lots of ways of cheating. You can smile occasionally. You know how rarely musicians smile? It's almost unheard of. But if they smile, they say, oh, apparently they're having a good time up there. And then the audience says, whatever he's having, I want that too. When I was young and I started realizing what music was, I watched my father, who was a lawyer and came from the office, and he put down his coat and then he sat at the piano. And everything about him was joyful. So if you could practice joy, it's hard work. Practice joy is very hard for you because you carry a lot of worry and weight and anticipation that it may not go well. You know, I have a promise. I promise you something. It's going to go great. I promise you. Monday's going to be great. Everybody's going to be happy. So if you could focus all your attention now on that and allow your body to relax and allow the cello to speak beauty, because you know the reason we all play the cello is because it's the most beautiful instrument in the world. That's the only reason. It doesn't have much beyond that to recommend, just the most beautiful instrument in the world. And do you want to share that with them? And did they come here from California to hear the sound of a cello? So that's all there is. So just do the little intro, not the whole introduction, just a few bars. You already look worried. You can always tell. A conductor once, an orchestra player, I asked, how long does it take for you to know in the orchestra, how long does it take you to know whether you're going to like working with the conductor? And his answer was 5 seconds before he conducts. So we can tell, everybody can tell. So, and this needs not only thought, but actual practice. Being at ease, being comfortable with yourself, you know the story of Jacqueline Dupre. Yeah, I've told this story, but I'll tell it again, because as my father used to say when he told a story for the 20th time, and I complained, he said, but I can only tell the stories that I know. Anyway, Jacqueline Dupre was seen running down the corridor at the age of 5, going into her first competition. And she was carrying her cello like this and beaming. And one of the mothers saw her and said, well, I can see that you've played. She said, no, I'm just about to. She was 5 years old. Do you realize what genius that is? She was 5 and she realized the most exciting thing a person can do is to play for people. Can you practice that? Could you pretend that you're having a good time? Just pretend. All right? Just try. Yeah, I mean, you could take this a little bit out. All right, just a few bars. Something. You do a lot of movement. It doesn't add particularly to the music. What is this phrase? It's very sad, isn't it? But beauty. So don't move. Don't need to move. This doesn't add anything. And in fact, it probably makes you a bit tense. You want to get as relaxed as you can, just a couple of hours. Good. Can you get a little more sadness by playing? Say it once.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah, good. A little sadder.
Da, 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 da.
Good. Now tell them how sad it is. Speaking. Good. Now play. Just 2 notes. I'm going to ask you to do something very difficult, because the music is sad. Smile while you're playing it. Okay. It's very difficult to do. I don't mean a silly smile, like, no, just, I'm so happy to be here. I love the cello. I can't wait for you to hear it. It's such a privilege to be doing what we're doing. And that's a big step for you, because you're still in that place of, oh my God, will I do it? Can I do it? You know, will I like it? All of that. Just put it behind you. And I know, you know, that idea of giving an A, it's a leap of faith. It's not an assessment. It's not saying everybody has earned an A. No, it's a gift. It's a leap into possibility, right? That's what it is. You understand that. Because you read the book, of course. 2 notes. Good. Could you get to the end of that phrase and say, God, wasn't that beautiful? Would you do that? And when you get to the end, particularly, that's so beautiful, that end. It's like, one more time. You know, that is, it opens opens up like a flower, like the arms opening to the world. Oh my God, because everything else has been pulled down. This lifts up into the sky and it takes this whole group of people with you. It's better. One more time. This is something I'd love you to practice. Actually think of practicing. Look at the mirror, ask somebody to ask whether you're actually expressing joy and love. That's because this music is about love. Right? Sadness, of course, but love. And the love bubbles up inside you and gets translated through that cello into the hearts of the people in the audience. But all that matters is them. You don't matter at all. You got it? Whoa. Fill it out right to the back. Do you see that person in the back? Smile at him. Open your heart. Thank you. Good. That's good. Good. Now, you know, usually we think of applause saying, "Bravo, well done." This applause is saying, "Thank you, Alex." That's a totally different kind of applause. Thank you, Alex. That's what you want when you give a recital. I mean, one thing you could do if you give a recital is pay everybody. You give them $5 or $10 and make them feel okay about being there. But another thing you could do is play like that. Right? That's all the reward they need. Do the middle section. Yeah, the middle section of the piece. Oh, do the yeah, yeah. What do you think he's doing? What is this about? What is this? It's a little flat for a concerto, because a concerto is to show off, right? So, but what is this about? Do you think? It's so soft, isn't it? Yeah. So what could it be? I never met Lalo. I have no idea what it was about. But I think it's a dream. He's dreaming. So the quieter you can sit, absolutely quiet, maybe with your eyes closed, imagine that. Try that. Can I suggest, sit absolutely quiet, body quiet. That's great. Right, great. That's beautiful. I would do even softer. Right? Now, this section. Great, wonderful. Terrific. You play it very well. It seems as you're not enjoying yourself very much. And the music is entirely about enjoyment. It's a Spanish rhythm. It's interesting how many French people love to write Spanish music. I mean, he wrote Symphonie Espagnole. All the French composers wrote. And the Russian composers did. You know why? I was talking to Mark Churchill earlier. He said, of course, they didn't travel in those days. They didn't go to see the places, they just listened to Rimsky-Korsakov and the other composers. So you have to conjure up the spirit of Spain, which means bright lights, reds and blacks, terrific rhythm, dance, physicality, and fun. Do you know who's playing that? Who's playing that? See if anybody's smiling. Look at her. So interesting to think we study an instrument, we learn music, we take lessons, we do all that stuff, but the real work has to be done with ourselves, because the thing that stands in the way is ourself. Worry, competition, fear, disappointment, all those emotions which go with, you know, what we refer to as the downward spiral of success and failure. None of that belongs in music. In fact, music is designed to eradicate it in the minds and the hearts of the people who are listening, which is why people go to concerts, right? We mustn't forget our calling. Our calling is not fingers or mouth. Our calling is heart. And the ability to communicate and engage with people such that they are ready to change their attitude to life. That's our job. So in that sense, we're a little bit like priests, and we have a role to play, which is why I believe musicians should behave very well. And when I mean that, I mean walk well, talk well, have their heads up, look joyful, and not look worried. Because if we look worried, everyone will say, well, life is hopeless. And you know, this is the genius of those few musicians who we all love and revere. Yo-Yo, I don't need to go further, right? Everywhere he walks, every gesture that he makes, with the cello, without the cello, you know that he loves people. And Bach, too. Bach wrote his music for the glory of God. And Lalo, this is a very beautiful piece, incidentally, this movement. It's really gorgeous. It's about tenderness, about love at the beginning, a certain sadness and longing, and then the mysterious dream, and then woo, off we go, color. Right? So if you can bring those things out on Monday. Now, I promise you that when you go out on stage, there's going to be somebody standing beside you and saying, you haven't practiced enough. Do you know how many people play this piece better than you do? That difficult passage is coming up. You're going to miss it again. Right, that's the voice in the head. And it's very important to know what that voice is. That voice is, when does that stop? Do you know when the voice stops? When you die. Right. It's one, I always say it's one of the only really nice things about dying. And it's going to come. Now, I have a recommendation. When that voice comes, and it will on Monday night, I promise it'll come. You have a job to do, to speak to the voice. It won't go away. It's there forever until you die. You know that. But you can speak to it. You can say, thank you for sharing. I'm busy. I'm busy. And you've got to be busy with something that you care about more than the fear that is more important to you than worry or competition or fear of failure or whatever it is. And the thing I recommend you focus on is them. And do it from the moment you walk into the room, greet the person who's... Where is the recital?
It's in a cathedral.
In a cathedral?
Or a church.
A church. Good Lord, thank goodness. It's a good. All right. So you greet the priest and you shake his hand as if you're a fellow priest. You're doing the same job. And if you could focus all your attention on that and just relax your body just so completely and just fill the space with beauty, it's going to be a great evening. And if you don't do it that time, you say, how fascinating, and do it the next time, and the next time, and the next time, okay? But bravo for what you've achieved, and bravo for bringing this wonderful musician along. Great. I think it's going to be a great performance. Don't you think so? Yeah.